What's going on, video world? I had made a video of that transmission, taking the motor down, cleaning off each side, the left and right, so the cases could be split, and removing the transmission. I got a call from, let's look at this guy. This guy's name is Curtis Henry. I didn't get a call from him. Actually, he left me a message. So he was worried about the shift forks. How to reset the shift forks onto the transmission once it was being installed back in the motor. So I wasn't going to do a video of this, but I will. I'm gonna do a video, and I'm gonna show you how to install the transmission, how to set the shift forks, everything kind of that you need to know to get this motor, get the transmission in and the motor back together. Okay, so basically, here we go. This is the same engine that I had, and actually I'd already put this motor together for a customer, and I actually put him that transmission that you saw me take out. That transmission was a race cut transmission for all 6 gears, and it was basically a mistake. I shouldn't have put that transmission in there. So long story short, I pulled that transmission out, and I just got him one cut for the 2nd gear, because that was what was wrong with this bike. It had actually a bad 2nd gear in it. So long story short, when I done that, this motor was run real hard, and that's why I was so excited about the bearings and everything. Look, because I had put all new bearings in this motor, and actually I started and ran the thing with that transmission in it. And that's when I realized that I better go ahead and pull that transmission out. It's no big deal for me, and go ahead and put him another one in. And it was good for me, because I looked at the bearings and everything was mated in all right from that little bit of running. So long story short, that all looked good. I am going to, as I was in that video prior, these cases, they're already split. So I'm just going to lift this case back up. All right. And I'm just going to tell you this. If these cases, you're having a hard time with these cases, struggling, lifting them up, getting them off, getting them on, they should slide on like hot butter on bread. If this is not going together, if this engine is not going back together that smoothly, that means that there's some problems, that, you know, something's out of the line. So let me make sure I got this where people can see it on video. Yeah. Hopefully everybody can see this and they'll understand what I'm doing. Now, the first thing that you want to do is I have already came in and actually cleaned these cases. You have to put a sealant on these cases, so that where the case is split apart. So I've already came in, as you can see, all of this is clean. I've came in and cleaned this, anticipation of putting this back together. A little bit of oil has leaked and ran down. So the main thing is, what I'm saying is you need to clean this mating surface. Make sure that there's no oil on this mating surface, because you're going to have to put a sealant here. There's different types of sealants. I'll show you the one that I use. I don't know if it's better than another. It's just a sealant that I've used, and I've had good success with it. So, you know, somebody else is going to say, hey, they got whatever. But the main thing is to get that cleaned up. You got to get that surface clean because they got to mate together. And so, as you can see, I just kind of cleaned off the top one, and then there's the bottom one right there. So, same thing. Get on that and clean this here, and make sure and look at your bearings. You know, make sure your bearings are seated in. You want to make sure that everything looks good because you're basically getting ready to seat this thing back down and seat it together. Okay. So you just want to get any excess oil off of these mating points where you're going to put this sealer at, so that the engine will seal down. Another thing, the engine's got engine studs, and see how when I pulled this bottom case off of that upper case, see one of the studs came out. Some people would want to leave those studs in there because it's a stud here, stud placement here, stud placement here, stud placement back here. Some people want to leave those studs in. I put the studs over here because if you don't, they'll be falling out. And if one of the studs fall out while you're trying to reassemble the motor, that stud's gonna fall out, and then it'll be in the motor. You have to turn the motor over or do whatever you need to do to get it out. But it's better to have those studs sitting in the case, in that upper case. When you lower your bottom case down, it's better to have those studs sitting up in the upper case. Now the only other thing I can say is to prep this a little bit more. Go ahead and get you some cleaner, and parts cleaner, and go ahead and get all of this cleaned out, and just go around. You'll be able to see it go around the edge of the motor, just like I'm doing. Clean that off because that's where you're gonna end up putting just a little bit of sealant, so this motor will seal together. Now, the main thing I can tell a person to do is on doing all of this is be careful. These are your main bearings. Be careful of those things. That's why you seen me. I had the lower case, and I had set it back down on top of my upper case so that those bearings will stay in there where they're supposed to stay. Be careful and be mindful of those bearings and stuff because those are your main bearings. Now to, I think it was Mr. Henry. Here's the shift forks. See how these shift forks are sitting in here? And this is a secret to getting them to sit in the right direction. See how those shift forks are? This is where the transmission would be sitting. See how? So here's where your transmission would be sitting, straight across here. See how I got the shift forks? So when your shift forks are sitting like this, boom, they're in the right position to lower down on the motor. So set these up like this. You can turn the shift drum and get these set up to where these are set up ready to go. And you'll see once I turn them over, once I get the sealant on it and I get everything ready to go and I put the transmission in, because I'm gonna set the transmission in here in just a second, and I'm gonna show you some things that you need to have to do to have the transmission set in. So I'm getting ready to do that right now. I'm gonna set this transmission back in this case. All right. That one there. here. Just bear with me for a minute. I'm trying to get everything set up to set that bad baby in there. So just bear with me for a second and I'll get it squared away. Get it squared away to set that bad baby in there. All right. Okay. Oh, I was getting ready to set wrong transmission in there. All right. See if we can see this on video. Get this on. This is the transmission. See that indentation in that transmission right there? Okay. See that little metal nipple right there in that transmission? Alright. Show you where these has got to sit. That little indentation right there. If you, let me try to zoom in. Yeah, I can zoom in on the transmission where it sits at. Get a little closer. There you go. See that little indentation? See that little indentation right there? All right. Get this transmission back over there. Let me get it back in view. See that transmission? Let's see here. There you go. That's your transmission. That little deal. That little indentation. It sits on this little nipple right here. All right. And once that gets in there, then you need to turn the transmission. Let's see if we get in focus here. See that little metal piece there that's protruding out? That little protruding piece, you need to turn this. Because that little protrusion piece sits right there. Okay? So, here we go. I'm going to set this transmission in here. So, take that little protrusion piece, and there's my little dot. Alright? That's it. So you hope you can see what I done there. Let me get back here. Remember that little metal protrusion piece that was sticking out? See how it's got to sit down in there? It has to sit down in there. And then on the other side, of course, that other protrusion had to sit down in there. And you'll know it, you'll see it immediately because the transmission deal will sit fully down into the case. And that's when that transmission is sitting in there, all right? Simple as that. You get that one in there. Same thing on this. See that little protrusion dot, right? Look at the transmission case. See, it's right there. All right? Same thing. On the other side of it, see that little metal nipple indentation sticking out there? That little indentation, you rotate it around until it sits right here on the case. All right, so it's basically the same thing. So you take your transmission with that little dot, turn that little dot over on that side. You take that transmission, and this one here, you have to get it into the neutral spot. So you have to turn this indentation around there, and there you go. Let's get it seated in here. All right, so she's seated in there. Sit it and get it set And basically, there you go. So she basically set in neutral, see? So check that transmission. Check your, there you go. So making sure to get that indentation down there. That one's in there. Yep. So now that transmission's set in there. Now don't forget your, I've done seen people do this before. Put the whole case together. Have it all bolted down. And then forget the oil ring seal for the transmission. So basically you don't put any sealant or anything really on it. Get in the video so you can see. That's what it is. Alright. This here little oil ring. This little seal right here. Alright. This is where it goes. Set it right there. Alright. Now, basically you got that on. You've cleaned all your edges. Alright. So let me back this video out so you can see kind of what I'm getting ready to do. Alright. Transmission set in there. I came around with cleaner and I cleaned all of this out. Cleaned everything out. Yep, looks good. All of it looks good. Because we got to put sealer. Got to put sealant on this motor. Now, and check all your dowel pins. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's all your dowel pins. So this motor will sit down and lock itself in place on those dowel pins. All right. So check all of those. Now, where'd my sealer go? Just had it in my hand here somewhere just a little bit ago. Okay. Get that over there. All right. Now with this sealer, you're going to notice, don't go crazy with this stuff. This doesn't have to be, some people put this gasket sealer everywhere, and we normally see it because we work on motors. We'll normally see it appear in the in that inside filter on the motor. Remember when I took this motor apart, I showed the inside filter? But this is all you need to do is just come along, just nice and easy. Put your nice little line of sealer, and like I say, don't go crazy. This thing doesn't need to, the sealer doesn't need to be on here all crazy. You don't have to go crazy with it. Just put your nice little line of sealer on here. Okay. Okay. Do it all the way across there. Got you another one right here. Now, as you can see, you don't do this all inside of the motor. You should be able to tell you do it to your, which would be the outside bleeding edge of the motor, okay? Okay. Right here. It'll take me a little screwdriver, and I normally do it like that. Alright? And you can take you a little bit for security wise and just come across that little bushing like that. Okay. Just take your time and do this so that you won't have a big mess. Because the better you do this and the more mess that you let run, like I said, out on the inside of your motor, you got to realize that it ends up inside of your motor. So you really don't want to make that type of a mess. So you can just be real easy with this and get this here on there. No great big deal. But you want to go around basically your whole case like that. And as you can see, I do it just enough to have some on there. You don't want to, like I said, you don't want to overdo this. You'll have this stuff, it'll be all inside of your motor, it'll be everywhere. And there's no need for all of that. There's really no need for all of that. All right. Look at all my lines. Yep, I ain't worried about that. Don't worry about that. I take care of that. Take care of that. Take care of that. All right. All right, she looks good. So once you get that sealant on there, now we're gonna now mount this lower case to this engine. All right, so let me get back here a little bit and see how I kind of got my shift forks coordinated already, sitting up in the air, because those shift forks now, remember how I put that transmission look like it's in neutral? So now you'll be able to tell what I'm gonna do here. I'll try to get this done for you. Okay. This is where those shift forks. Shift fork goes right here. Shift fork goes right here. And the other shift fork goes right here in the middle. See what I'm saying? So now, look how I already got my case and my shift fork set up. Shift fork right there. Shift fork right there. The other shift fork right in the middle. All right? So when I flip that case over, now you do have to do a little bit of, you got to do a little bit of work, and I've got to, let me get my screwdriver, because normally I stick a long screwdriver in there to help me out a little bit, but I think this here may go a little bit better. So I'm gonna get ready to put this case and get these shift forks set, and I think I pretty much got them set pretty good. But now I'm gonna put this lower case, boom, I'm gonna set it right down on top of this upper case. So basically you grab that case, see how my shift fork, see how that shift fork just fell in place? That shift fork fell in place. It's basically, it's saying I'm ready to go on. So I'm gonna set it up just like so. And you take this engine case, and I'm gonna set it right. You can look down through it and you can actually see your shift forks. Where they trying to go. Okay, so I see my shift forks. I got that one set up. Got that one set up. Like me, I like to get on the floor.
Stick my screwdriver in there. Come on, baby. Get out of there. One wanting to go. That's where you got to have just a little bit of patience. And get that fourth in there. Oh, baby. Come on. Okay, I think she'll sit down. Okay, there she go. All right, that's it. So see how easy that set down? You shouldn't have to be fighting with that thing. You just got to get in there. And once she set down like that, look all around her. Make sure she set right on down like she was supposed to. And yeah. And once she set down, go ahead and get over here and see that transmission. That bad baby sitting in neutral. Yeah. And she's sitting in there. And that's it. That's all you have to do to put that transmission in. Simple as that. You got to have a little patience and make sure you go ahead and, you know, just pay attention to everything that you need to be doing and get your sealant and all your stuff together there the right way. And like I say, clean her up. And she's sitting down in there. All right. Now, you remember, now we're to the point where we have to start putting these bolts in. All right? And let me get over here. I'm going to get over here to my little table. Get this back. Yeah, I'm back. All right. Remember my bottom bag? All right. These are all my bolts out that bottom bag. And you can see how I already pre-lined them up, okay? These bolts, you just have to pay attention. And as you can see how I line them up, I know these are already from the inside of the motor on the crank. You remember when I was talking to you about the two that need to be on that bracket? See, they're still on that bracket. The 4 that need its brass nuts. And then all these other ones here. This was my oddball, so I keep it out here by itself. And then here's my little small ones. And there's only one oddball to this, and that's why I've got it sitting out here as number 1. See, that number 1. So once I start putting these bolts in, I'll show you and tell you how I'm doing it and why I'm doing it this way. But now you can see how I got it laid out. All right. We'll get back over here to the motor, because what I'm gonna get ready to do is I gotta get a torque wrench.
And whoop, let's see here, 12. Yeah, give me a torque wrench. Hold on just a minute, and I'll be back. Let's see here. Yep. So I hope that helped you out, Mr. Curtis Henry. Pre-line those shift forks up prior to doing everything, and make sure the transmission is in neutral. And you'll see those shift forks are set up, and when you turn it over, they'll start to fall in place on their own. No big deal. Don't go in there forcing it, trying to beat it. You see me, I just stuck that screwdriver in there and just kind of finagled it around. You know what I mean? Just kind of finagled it around a little bit and played with it. And got that bad boy to go in there. Now, this is why I told you guys to get a good torque wrench. All right, so here we're going to start doing our bolts. Remember, let's see if I can make sure we can get it on video. Got me a good torque wrench, and then here's my bolts. And remember, these long 3. Let's see if can we see it if I do it like that? Let me get it over here. Get it over here. Y'all might want me to zoom in a little bit. Maybe. Yeah. Okay, hopefully y'all be able to see that. These 3 right here, all right, them long ones. Go right here. Remember how I set it up? These 3 right here, all right, go right here. All right, you want to put these crank bolts in there first. These are the first bolts you want to put in there. You want to get your crank tied down, okay? And remember my 4 with my copper washers? All right, and we'll go here. You want to get these bad boys tied down first. All right. So you get your torque wrench, and normally what I like to do is I'll go ahead and spin them down by hand. All right. Matter of fact, let me do it like this here. What I normally like to do is before I use my torque wrench, I'll go ahead and get me, and I'll just spin them down by hand. Real nice, whoop, just like that. Don't put no torque on them at all. Just so you just won't be wasting time, you know, turning. But don't torque these down with this power thing, because you don't know where you're at. I'm just spinning them down to keep from wasting time. You understand? Don't go messing around torquing these things down yet, because there's a sequence that you're going to have to go through to really put some torque on these, all right? So just bear with me and just do the best you can and spin these down just a little bit. Just want to spin them down to where they touch. Don't spin them down and put no torque on them yet, though. All right? So there we go. That's all of them for the crank. Now, since they spun down there, I got my torque wrench set up. All right. Got my torque wrench set up. All right. Here's the pattern that I'll go. I'm going to go. I'll just count. 1, then 2. All right. Then I'm going to go. I can go either way now after that. But you don't have to follow this exact, but you want to follow the sequence. So I can go 1, 2, here, then over here, then here, then over here, then over here, then over here, then here, then there. Okay? You don't have to follow it in that exact order, but you want to do it where you can get your crank to sit in there level. You understand? So I got my torque where I need it. On these motors like this or anything, oh, my torque wrench done cut off. It's on too long and nobody done anything. That's what a good torque wrench will do. So anyway, you got two settings. I got an initial setting. That's my initial. Okay. Uh-oh, I knocked my stand. All right. All right. See how I'm crisscrossing basically? Okay. Come over here. Come over here. All right. Come to this dog. Outside. Come all the way over here. And go all the way back over here. And back over here. Okay, that was my first initial. Now I'm gonna go for the final. And that's why people, you need to get yourself a really good torque wrench. And like I said, do not over torque these. Go by your torque setting, get your really good torque wrench so you'll know what you're doing. Because if you over tighten these and squish your main bearings, you're gonna mess up something. So get your torque wrench. Don't guess. And just because it don't seem tight, that doesn't make a difference. This bad baby is getting torqued down. Yep, this bad baby's getting torqued down. And now you see, that's why I like that beeping torque wrench. It'll tell me, and I could look at it and see whether I'm in the numbers or not. I could look at it and see. Yep, that's where she's supposed to be. Okay. And now, what I normally do is I know them bad babies torque. I just make sure. So I put them on, and I don't pull hard at all. Yep, baby's on. You can, with a good torque wrench, you look at your numbers. It'll go from just like a stop sign: green, yellow, and then red. So yep, she's good. And it'll tell you what poundage you are by how much pounds of force that you're pulling on there. So this is here, just check them. Make sure they all within, the same poundage. That's the main thing you want to do.
Okay. All right. Keep my power on my wrench here. Now that's it. This case is set. Motor set. Once you get her done like that, recheck your transmission. Make sure she spins freely. No problems in there. And what I also normally do is when I do that and get that back together, this motor sitting here like that, it is also a good time before you do anything else to put a wrench on your crank. And yes, sir. Make sure that crank turn over. There ain't nothing holding that crank up. Yeah, it's pretty nice and smooth. Living to it. Yeah. That's it. Yeah. The old crank, the motor huff like a cobra snake. That's what I call it. Huffing like a snake. Yes, sir. That's just the compression that they have. That's all. Listen to it. She's huffing like a snake. That's good. That's good. She good. That's it to putting the transmission in. Then now, of course, you just put all your stuff back on. Put everything that you took off. Put it all back on. Bolt it all back on the motor. That's it. Flip this motor back over. And then you do the same thing. You put your top bolts in. That's it. It's as simple as that. So I'm going to go ahead and finish this up the rest of the way the right way. But that'll give you an idea now, hopefully. And especially Mr. Curtis. Just pay attention to putting those forks in. And like I say, once you get her all in there, turn your transmission shaft and your clutch shaft over. Make sure that baby, everything's spinning the right way. Do your crank like that. So you know ain't nothing jammed up, and you good to go. And as I say in all my videos, because I'm getting ready to put this thing fully together, hope this helped somebody out. And anyway, bye-bye.